Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative coming at you with a conversation about a topic that's been coming up in pop culture and even, music circles a lot with the current rap beef, between Kendrick Lamar and BBL Drizzy. If you are new to this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you for rocking with us. We talk about a lot of things, and this topic is pretty important, and I hope, can help inform people of what signs to watch out for and just to know the difference between, grooming and what it looks like when someone is full blown, victim of a PDF file. I can't say the terms. It's early in the YouTube video, but you should know what I'm talking about as we go through the video, right? So, context again, in the current rap beef between, Kendrick Lamar and BBL Drizzy, there's a lot of accusations flying around. One of the accusations being that, one of the rappers likes, younger girls, and this is not a new thing, with what we have seen in the news over the years. I remember the first time I kind of had thoughts that something weird was going on when that Stranger Thing actress Millie Bobby Brown was talking about getting texted by, the rapper in question, and she was like 13, 14, 15, at the time that, these texts were happening, and she was saying how this rapper was talking to her about boys, telling her she missed him, inviting her to his dressing room and shows and things like that. And while the rapper in question maintains that, he's not a PDF file, and they both maintain that nothing happened, that is a pretty good example of grooming just based on information that Millie Bob Brown said herself, in interviews about the texting and, the talking about boys. And obviously we don't know these people, we don't know a lot of what was going on. But again, from what we've seen from the horse's own mouth, in the news, that's a pretty blatant example of grooming. I'll go through the steps as to why. And then also in the Quiet on the Set documentary, there's a person in question who's very litigious right now, suing the creators of the documentary for alleging that he was also a PDF file. He insists that he wasn't, but again, even though he may claim that he didn't directly do anything to the children, right? Again, grooming does not breach the physical, but it's all about the mental, the blurring, the boundaries. And for what we've seen publicly, for example, like soliciting minors for feet pics, and even having like Ariana Grande sucking her toes, in videos, and normalizing those kind of like sexual and fetish scenarios with younger people. Definitely, again, grooming is about blurring the lines, and the steps are something that I've been able to learn about in my studies, and I'll share some of like the stages of grooming with you. And if you see anybody in your life that you think is being groomed, or if you're looking back, think you've been groomed in the past, I encourage you to talk to someone. Don't live in silence, and help someone if you think, they're going through this. So stage one of grooming is the person selecting a vulnerable victim. And predators could do this based on a lot of factors, based on age, or, if somebody is a loner, or if they're new to a community. For example, in Millie Bobby Brown's case, she was a new actress. Again, this is her first big role when she was 11. And she basically says that the rapper in question took her under his wings and was, helping her with a lot of things. Which brings us to step 2, the gaining trust, right? The person who's grooming is never going to attack right away. There's a saying, if you give a person an inch, they'll take a mile, right? The way groomers operate is inch by inch, right? They will never go the full mile right away when engaging in the grooming behavior, right? They'll establish themselves as a safe and a friendly person, someone that can be trusted, someone that can give advice, and then slowly, again, blur the lines, make it so that they have their hooks, in the victim. Then the hooks come out really when it comes to fulfilling a need, right? Let's say, for example, there's like a neighbor who shows a lot of interest in the child, and the family thinks they're great, but then they notice that the parents aren't getting a chance to date a lot. They might say, hey, you guys should go on a date, I'll be happy to babysit, and that could be their way, of worming their way into the person's life and acting like they're helping by filling a need, but really they're trying to set the stage, to manipulate and get their way with whatever victim they choose. Stage 4 would be isolating the victim. Sometimes, they will separate people's, children from, their families or parents. And quiet on the set, you saw that especially with Drake Bell's story, how, the predator wormed his way into, the family business and accused the dad of stealing money and turned the mom against the dad, right? So that pattern of isolation for a lot of abuse, helps make the victim even more vulnerable, right? And then after the isolation happens, then the grooming can then progress to outright sexualizing the relationship. And again, sometimes it doesn't have to be overtly involving intercourse like you saw with Quiet on the Set, like the whole getting feet pics, and again, that seemed Ariana Grande sucking her toes. There's slow ways to sexualize things, and I can speak firsthand because when I was left at a daycare when I was younger, there was an older person that did this to me. The other person was an older girl, so again, there was never like any kind of like penetration, and all the encounters, all of our clothes were on, but there were little things that happened, like putting their hands like down the back of my clothes, things like that. They're again inching their way into making the relationship more and more sexual, so that again they can have their way with the victim. Stage 6 is maintaining control. So once the sexual abuse is happening, they will use all of these stages they have set up to keep the person held in that relationship. It could be financial, with money or things that the person wants that they can't get otherwise. It could be an abuse of power, like in the case of Quiet on the Set, like if the person is a boss. And it could also be emotional support, like we saw with Millie Bobby Brown, her saying that, the rapper in question, was there for her. So again, you gotta seek help. It can be a very long, sneaky process that can last years and years of blurring those lines. But the red flags you may be able to see to maybe help someone is if you see a person becoming more and more secretive, if they're being groomed, if people carry more and more shame and they don't feel like they can talk to people. Sometimes people may resort to self-harm, and there could also be addictive behaviors that are happening with the person. Like you saw with Drake Bell, he started to have alcohol problems, so please look out. And if this sounds familiar to you, get help. And remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Bye. Bye.